Space surprise. It was a normal Tuesday on Earth. People went to work, kids went to school, and life was as usual. But high up in space, something very strange was about to happen. Near Jupiter, the biggest planet in our solar system, a flash of bright light appeared. It wasn't a star or a meteor. As the light faded, something incredible came into view. It was a group of huge spaceships. These weren't human spaceships. They were too big, too shiny, and too weird-looking. They had smooth, curved shapes that looked like giant soap bubbles. The ships glowed with a soft blue light. There were 5 of them, each as big as a city. At first, no one on Earth knew about the alien ships. They were too far away for most telescopes to see. But there was one person who spotted them by chance. Tommy was a 12-year-old boy who loved looking at stars. Every night, he would set up his telescope in his backyard. On this night, he pointed his telescope at Jupiter, hoping to see its big red spot. But when Tommy looked through his telescope, he didn't see Jupiter. Instead, he saw something that made him gasp. There were giant shapes floating near the planet. They didn't look like anything he had ever seen before. "Mom, Dad," Tommy yelled, running into the house. "You've got to see this." Tommy's parents came out, thinking he had just seen a shooting star. But when they looked through the telescope, they were shocked. They knew this was something big. Tommy's dad called the local news station. At first, they didn't believe him. But when they sent a reporter with a better telescope, they saw it too. The news spread quickly. Within hours, the whole world knew about the alien ships. TV shows talked about nothing else. The internet was full of pictures and videos of the faraway ships. Everyone had questions. Who were these aliens? Why were they here? Were they friendly or dangerous? Scientists tried to learn more about the ships. They used big radio telescopes to listen for any messages. But the alien ships were silent. They just floated there, not moving or doing anything. Some people got scared. They thought the aliens might attack Earth. They bought lots of food and water, just in case. Other people were excited. They hoped the aliens would share cool technology or take humans on space trips. World leaders had emergency meetings. They talked about what to do. Should they try to talk to the aliens? Should they send ships to meet them? Or should they wait and see what the aliens did? The ships didn't move closer to Earth. They just stayed near Jupiter. This made some scientists curious. Why weren't the aliens coming to Earth if they had traveled so far? A smart scientist named Dr. Lee had an idea. She thought maybe the alien ships were stuck. "Look," she said to her team, "the ships aren't moving at all. Not even a little bit. What if they're broken down?" This idea made sense to a lot of people. It explained why the aliens weren't doing anything. Maybe they needed help. But there was still a big question. What did the aliens look like? No one knew. The ships were too far away to see inside. People imagined all sorts of things. Some thought the aliens might look like little green men. Others thought they might be like giant insects or even thinking clouds of gas. 3 days after the ships appeared, something new happened. One of the ships sent out a light beam. It was aimed right at Earth. The beam didn't seem to do anything. It was just a blue light pointing at our planet. Scientists thought this might be the aliens trying to say hello, but no one knew how to answer. How do you talk to someone who uses light beams instead of words? As the first week ended, Earth was a mix of excitement and worry. Schools taught lessons about space and aliens. Toy stores sold out of spacecraft models and alien dolls. Everyone was waiting to see what would happen next. The normally quiet planet Jupiter had become the most watched spot in the solar system. And floating nearby were 5 silent, mysterious ships that had changed everything. The big space surprise had turned into the biggest question humanity had ever faced. What do we do now? Earth gets nosy. A week had passed since the alien ships appeared near Jupiter. At first, everyone on Earth was shocked and scared. But now, people were getting curious. They wanted to know more about these strange visitors. All around the world, scientists were working hard. They used big telescopes and powerful computers to study the alien ships. But it wasn't easy. The ships were very far away. And they didn't do much. They just floated there, silent and mysterious. One day, a team of scientists in Australia made a big discovery. They found out that the alien ships were sending out weak radio waves. These waves were too weak for normal radios to hear. But the scientists had a special radio that could pick them up. The leader of the team was Dr. Maria Wong. She was very excited. This could be the alien language, she told her team. If we can understand it, we might be able to talk to them. Dr. Wong and her team worked day and night to decode the radio waves. They used big computers and clever math to try and make sense of the alien sounds. It was like trying to solve the hardest puzzle in the world. While the scientists were busy, regular people on Earth were getting restless. They wanted to know what was happening. Some people started to make up stories about the aliens. One man in New York said he could talk to the aliens with his mind. He got on TV and said the aliens were friendly and wanted to share their technology. Lots of people believed him, even though he had no proof. In Russia, a group of people said the aliens were actually time travelers from Earth's future. They said the ships looked weird because they were made with future technology. This idea spread quickly on the internet. Not everyone was so positive. Some people were still scared of the aliens. They thought Earth should get ready for a war, just in case. They wanted the governments to build weapons and spaceships to fight the aliens. All these different ideas made things confusing. People argued about what to do. Some wanted to welcome the aliens. Others wanted to hide from them. It was hard to know who to believe. The world's leaders knew they had to do something. They called a big meeting at the United Nations in New York. Leaders from every country came to talk about the aliens. It was the biggest meeting in UN history. At the meeting, there was a lot of shouting and arguing. Some leaders wanted to send a message to the aliens right away. Others thought that was too dangerous. They fought about it for hours. Finally, the President of India had an idea. She said, "Why don't we ask the people of Earth what they think? Let's have a worldwide vote." Everyone liked this idea. They decided to hold a global online vote. Every person on Earth could say what they thought we should do about the aliens. It would be the biggest vote ever. While the adults were busy with their vote, the kids of Earth had their own ideas. In schools all over the world, children were drawing pictures of what they thought the aliens looked like. They made up stories about alien worlds and wrote letters to the alien visitors. One little girl in Brazil drew a picture of Earth and alien children playing together. The picture went viral on the internet. Soon, kids everywhere were sharing their alien art. It was like a big global art show. Back in Australia, Dr. Wong and her team were still working on the alien radio waves. After many days of hard work, they had a breakthrough. They found a pattern in the waves. It wasn't a language, but it was something. "Look at this," Dr. Wong said to her team. She pointed to a screen full of squiggly lines. These patterns repeat every 67 minutes. It's too regular to be random. The aliens are trying to tell us something. The news of Dr. Wong's discovery spread fast. Now people had even more questions. What were the aliens saying? Were they asking for help? Were they warning Earth about something? Or were they just saying hello? As the day of the global vote got closer, excitement grew. Everyone had an opinion about what to do. TV shows, websites, and newspapers were full of alien talk. It seemed like the whole world was holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The alien ships were still there, silent and mysterious. But now, Earth was wide awake and paying attention. The whole planet was getting nosy, and everyone was ready for the next surprise from space. Humans, say hello. The day of the big vote had come and gone. People all over Earth had their say. The result was clear. Humans wanted to say hello to the aliens. World leaders met again to plan the next step. They decided to send a small spaceship to meet the aliens. It would carry a crew of brave astronauts from different countries. Picking the crew was hard. Thousands of people wanted to go. After many tests, 5 astronauts were chosen. They were the best of the best. The captain was Jin Lee from South Korea. She was smart and calm. Next was Bob Taylor, an engineer from Canada who could fix anything. Aisha Patel from India was the team doctor. Viktor Novak from Russia was the pilot. And finally, there was Maria Garcia, a language expert from Brazil. The ship they would fly was called the Friendship. It was small but fast. Inside, it had beds, food, and lots of scientific tools. The Friendship also carried gifts for the aliens: music, art, and pictures from Earth. On launch day, millions of people watched on TV. The Friendship sat on top of a huge rocket. Fire and smoke burst out as the rocket lifted off. The ship rose higher and higher until it was just a tiny dot in the sky. The journey to Jupiter would take 3 months. During this time, the crew sent video messages back to Earth. They showed how they ate, slept, and worked in space. Kids loved watching them float around the ship. As they got closer to Jupiter, everyone got more excited. But they were also a bit scared. What if the aliens were unfriendly? What if something went wrong? One day, as they neared Jupiter, something strange happened. All the computers on the Friendship stopped working. The astronauts were worried. Without computers, they couldn't fly the ship or talk to Earth. But then, just as quickly as they had stopped, the computers started again. And now there was a new message on the screen. It wasn't in any Earth language. It was a series of colorful shapes and patterns. Maria, the language expert, studied the message. "I think," she said slowly, "that the aliens are saying hello back to us." The crew was amazed. Somehow, the aliens had sent a message right into their ship's computers. They tried to reply, but they didn't know how. Then Aisha had an idea. She turned on the ship's outside lights and made them blink in the same pattern as the alien message. It was a simple way to show they had gotten the message. To everyone's surprise, the alien ship started to glow in response. They changed colors, making beautiful patterns in space. It was like a light show just for the Friendship. As they got closer to the alien ships, the crew could see them better. They were even stranger up close. The ships seemed to be alive, changing shape slightly as they watched. Captain Jin made a decision. She would try to talk to the aliens using the ship's radio. She took a deep breath and said, "Hello, we come from Earth. We come in peace." For a long moment, there was silence. Then the radio crackled. A sound came through, unlike anything they had ever heard. It was like music and speech mixed together, with colors that they could somehow hear. The crew looked at each other in amazement. They couldn't understand the words, but they could feel the meaning. The aliens were welcoming them. Suddenly, a beam of soft light came from the biggest alien ship. It wrapped around the Friendship like a gentle hug. The astronauts felt warm and happy. Through the light, they could see movement inside the alien ship. Shapes were moving, coming closer to the windows. And then, for the first time, humans saw what the aliens looked like. They were beautiful and strange. Their bodies glowed softly, changing colors as they moved. They had 4 arms and large, kind eyes. The aliens waved to the human crew, who waved back with big smiles. Back on Earth, everyone was waiting for news. When the first pictures of the aliens came through, people cheered and cried. It was a moment no one would ever forget. The Friendship crew knew they had a lot of work ahead. They had to find a way to really talk with the aliens to understand each other. But they had made a good start. Humans had said hello, and the aliens had answered. As the human ship floated next to the huge alien ships, it looked tiny. But it carried the hopes and dreams of all Earth. The great adventure was just beginning. Big problem. Big plan. The crew of the Friendship had been living with the aliens for a week now. They were learning amazing things every day. The aliens, who called themselves the Luminary, were friendly and very smart. But there was a big problem. The Luminary ships were broken. They couldn't move or go back to their home. That's why they had been floating near Jupiter all this time. Captain Jin Lee called a meeting with her crew and the Luminary leaders. They gathered in a big room that changed colors with their moods. Right now, it was a worried shade of blue. "We need to find a way to help the Luminary get home," Jin said. "But their technology is very different from ours. How can we fix something we don't understand?" Bob, the engineer, had been studying the alien ships. "Their engines use something called star energy," he explained. "It's like they catch and use the power of starlight, but the collectors are damaged." The Luminary leader, a tall being named Zora, spoke next. Her words came out as colors and soft sounds, which a special computer translated. "Our journey took too long," Zora said. "We used up all our backup power. Now we're stuck." Everyone was quiet, thinking hard about the problem. Then Maria, the language expert, had an idea. "What if we bring the Luminary to Earth?" she asked. "We have more resources there. Maybe we can find a way to make new collectors for their ships." The room buzzed with excited talk. It was a bold plan. No one had ever brought aliens to Earth before. But it might be the only way to help. Aisha, the doctor, looked worried. "But can the Luminary even breathe our air?" she asked. "Will Earth be safe for them?" Zara's body flickered with green lights, which meant she was thinking. "We can adapt," she said. "Our bodies can change to suit different worlds. But we will need special suits to protect us from your sun. It's much brighter than what we're used to." Victor, the pilot, spoke up next. "The Friendship is too small to carry all the Luminary," he said. "We'll need bigger ships." Jin nodded. "We'll have to ask Earth to send more ships," she said. "Big ones. And we'll need to prepare people for the Luminary's arrival." The team spent the next few hours making plans. They had to think of everything: how to transport the Luminary, where they would stay on Earth, how to protect them, and how to help them fix their ships. As they worked, the room changed colors with their emotions. It went from worried blue to excited yellow to determined green. Finally, they had a plan. Jin would fly back to Earth in the Friendship to explain everything and get help. The rest of the crew would stay with the Luminary to prepare them for the trip. But there was one more surprise. Zara announced that she wanted to go to Earth with Jin. "If I go," she said, "your people will see that we come in peace. It will help them trust us." Everyone was shocked. This was a big risk for Zara, but they also knew she was right. Seeing a real Luminary would help humans understand their new friends better. The next day, Jin and Zara got ready to leave. The Friendship had to be changed a bit to make room for Zara. They added a special area filled with a gas mix that was comfortable for her. As they prepared to leave, Bob gave Jin a small box. "It's a piece of the broken collector," he said. "Maybe the scientists on Earth can study it." Aisha gave Zara a special suit. "This will protect you on Earth," she explained. "The fabric changes to keep you at the right temperature." Maria handed Jin a data chip. "It's everything we've learned about the Luminary language," she said. "It will help people on Earth talk to Zora." Victor did one last check of the ship. "All systems are good," he reported. "You're ready to fly." As Jin and Zara boarded the Friendship, everyone felt excited and nervous. This was a big moment in human history. For the first time, an alien was going to visit Earth. The other Luminary gathered to say goodbye to Zora. They glowed with bright colors, a sign of their hopes and fears. The human crew waved to Jin, wishing her a safe journey. The Friendship's engines started up. Slowly, the small ship moved away from the huge Luminary vessels. Jin looked over at Zara, who was gazing out the window at her people. "Ready for a big adventure?" Jin asked. Zara's body shimmered with excited colors. "Ready," she replied. "Let's go meet your world." As the Friendship turned towards Earth, Both Jin and Sarah knew that nothing would ever be the same again. They were about to change history and hopefully save the luminary. The big problem had led to a big plan, and now that plan was in action. Space road trip. The day had finally come. After weeks of preparation, it was time for the luminary to travel to Earth. The sky around Jupiter was filled with activity as a fleet of Earth's biggest spaceships arrived to help. The Earth ships were huge, but they looked small next to the luminary vessels. Hundreds of human workers in spacesuits floated around, attaching big cables to the alien ships. They would tow the broken luminary ships to Earth. Inside the main Earth ship, named the Cosmic Voyager, Captain Anna Rodriguez watched the busy scene. She turned to Zara, who stood beside her. "Are your people ready?" she asked. Zara's body shimmered with excited colors. "Yes," she said. "We are nervous but eager to see your world." The plan was to move the luminary into the Earth ships for the journey. This way, they could travel faster and more safely. It was like a big space-moving day. As the luminary boarded the Earth ships, everyone was amazed. The aliens glowed and changed colors as they moved. They carried strange objects that humans had never seen before. Some luminary even brought pets, small floating creatures that looked like glowing jellyfish. Bob, the engineer from the Friendship, was helping the luminary settle in. He showed them how to use the ship's facilities. "This is the food machine," he explained to a group of curious aliens. "You can tell it what you want to eat, and it makes it for you." A young luminary tried it out. "Stardust pudding," it said. The machine whirred and a bowl of glittering, colorful goo appeared. The luminary ate it happily while the humans watched in wonder. Meanwhile, Maria was having fun learning more luminary language. She found out that they didn't just talk with sounds and colors, but also with smells. "This is going to make writing a luminary dictionary very interesting," she laughed. Once everyone was aboard, it was time to leave. Captain Rodriguez gave the order, and the fleet of ships began to move. The cables went tight as they started to pull the big luminary ships. At first, everything went smoothly. The ships moved steadily through space, leaving Jupiter behind. The humans and luminary started to relax and get to know each other better. They played games together. The luminary taught the humans a game that was like 3D chess, played with holographic pieces that floated in the air. The humans taught the luminary to play cards, which the aliens found very funny. "Why do you use flat pieces with symbols?" a luminary asked. "Wouldn't it be easier if the cards could speak and move?" The humans and luminary also shared stories. The aliens told tales of their home world, a place with 2 suns and rings like Saturn. The humans shared Earth's history and myths. The luminary were especially interested in stories about magic and dragons. "We have creatures like your dragons," one luminary said, "but ours live in the clouds and sing beautiful songs." Days passed, and the fleet got closer to Mars. Everyone was excited because they would soon be able to see Earth. But then, something went wrong. Alarms started blaring on all the ships. Captain Rodriguez rushed to the control room. "What's happening?" she asked. The science officer looked worried. "There's a solar storm coming," he said. "A big one. It could damage our ships and hurt the luminary." Solar storms were dangerous. They sent out waves of energy that could fry electronics and cause radiation sickness. The fleet had to act fast. Captain Rodriguez made a quick decision. "We'll hide behind Mars," she said. "Its magnetic field should protect us." The fleet changed course, racing towards the red planet. They could see the storm coming, a wall of glowing particles rushing towards them from the sun. As they maneuvered behind Mars, everyone held their breath. Would they make it in time? The storm got closer and closer. Just as the first ships reached safety, the storm hit. The last few ships shook as the energy waves washed over them. Lights flickered, and for a scary moment, it seemed like they might lose power. But the humans and luminary worked together. The aliens used their light-based technology to strengthen the ship's shields. The human engineers quickly fixed any damage. Together, they rode out the storm. When it was over, everyone cheered. This shared danger had brought the two species even closer together. They had faced a big problem and solved it as a team. As the fleet came out from behind Mars, they got their first view of Earth. It was a beautiful blue and white ball in the darkness of space. The luminari were amazed. "It's so colorful," Zara said. "So full of life." Captain Rodriguez smiled. "Welcome to our home," she said. "Your new adventure is about to begin." As the ships approached Earth, both humans and luminary felt excited and a little nervous. Their space road trip was ending, but a bigger journey was just starting. Earth was about to meet its new alien visitors, and nothing would ever be the same again. Teamwork makes the dream work. The luminary had been on Earth for a month now. They lived in a special dome, built just for them near a big science center. The dome looked like a giant soap bubble and changed colors with the luminary's moods. Inside the dome, humans and luminary were working hard. Their big job was to fix the luminary's broken ships, but it wasn't easy. The alien technology was very different from anything on Earth. Bob, the human engineer, scratched his head as he looked at a piece of luminary tech. It was a shiny ball that floated in the air. "I still don't get how this works," he said. "It doesn't have any wires or circuits." Zara, the luminary leader, glowed with amusement. "It doesn't need them," she explained. "It uses light to carry information, like your fiber optics, but much more advanced." Dr. Emily Chen, Earth's top scientist, joined them. "That's fascinating," she said, "but how do we power it? Our electricity doesn't seem to work." As they talked, a young luminary named Lux floated over. Lux was always curious about human technology. "What if we combine our ways?" Lux suggested. "Use your electricity to make light, then use that light to power our tech." Everyone got excited about this idea. It was a perfect example of how teamwork could solve big problems. Humans were good at making and controlling electricity. Luminary were experts at using light in amazing ways. Together, they might be able to do something totally new. They decided to test the idea. Bob rigged up a special lamp that could make many different kinds of light. Dr. Chen programmed a computer to control the lamp. Zara and Lux prepared the luminary device. When they turned on the lamp, the luminary ball started to glow brightly. It rose higher in the air and began to spin. Suddenly, it projected a huge 3D map of the galaxy. Everyone cheered. It worked. This was a big step towards fixing the luminary ships. But they still had a long way to go. The ships needed many different parts, and each one was a new challenge. The humans and luminary formed mixed teams to work on each problem. One team worked on the ship's outer skin. The luminary ships were alive in a way, and their skin had been damaged by the long journey. Maria, the language expert, had an idea. "What if we use the algae from our oceans?" she suggested. "They can live in space and heal themselves. Maybe they can help heal the ships too." The luminary loved this idea. They started to experiment with different types of algae, adding their own biolight technology to make them stronger. Another team tackled the navigation system. The luminary used stars to find their way, but they didn't recognize the stars near Earth. Victor, the human pilot, worked with them to make a new star map that both species could use. It wasn't all work, though. As they spent more time together, the humans and luminary became good friends. They shared meals, played games, and told stories. The luminary were fascinated by human music and art. The humans were amazed by luminary light sculptures and color-changing clothes. One day, a group of human kids visited the dome for a school trip. The luminary were nervous at first. They had never met human children before. But soon, the dome was filled with laughter. The luminary showed the kids how to make light balls float in the air. The children taught the luminary to play hopscotch. By the end of the day, Human and luminary kids were playing together like old friends. This visit gave everyone a new idea. "Why don't we make a big festival?" suggested Aisha, the doctor from the friendship crew. "We can show people on Earth how well we're working together." Everyone thought this was a great plan. They started to prepare for the festival, mixing human and luminary traditions to create something totally new. As the weeks passed, the teams made more and more progress. Each small success brought them closer to their big goal. The luminary ships were slowly coming back to life. One evening, as the sun was setting, Bob called everyone to the main workshop. "I think we've done it," he said, his voice shaking with excitement. "The main engine is ready for a test." Everyone gathered around. Humans and luminary stood side by side, holding their breath. Zara and Dr. Chen together pressed the start button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a soft hum, the engine came to life. It glowed with a beautiful blue light, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. The room erupted in cheers. Humans hugged each other. Luminary flashed bright colors of joy. They had done it. The impossible task was becoming possible. As they celebrated, Zara spoke to the group. "This is more than just fixing the ship," she said. "We've built a bridge between our worlds. We've shown that together, we can do amazing things." Dr. Chen nodded in agreement. "This is just the beginning," she said. "Think of all we can learn from each other, all we can achieve together." As night fell, the humans and luminary looked up at the stars together. Those distant points of light didn't seem so far away anymore. Thanks to teamwork, dreams of exploring the galaxy together were beginning to feel real. The festival was just days away now. Soon, the whole world would see what can happen when two different species work together. It was a new era for both humans and luminary, full of hope and endless possibilities. Party in the stars. The big day had finally arrived. After months of hard work, the luminary ships were fixed and ready to fly. But before they left Earth, it was time for the biggest party the world had ever seen. People from all over Earth came to the luminary dome. There were long lines of excited humans waiting to meet the aliens. The luminary were nervous but happy to make new friends. Inside the dome, it was like a magical fairyland. Luminary-like sculptures floated in the air, changing colors and shapes. Human artists had set up paintings and statues. There was music from both worlds playing. Earth songs mixed with the beautiful light and sound music of the luminary. In the center of the dome was the star of the show, a luminary ship. It looked like a giant, shimmering soap bubble, but now it hummed with new life, thanks to the teamwork between humans and aliens. Zara and Captain Jin stood in front of the ship, ready to make a speech. Jin spoke first. "Friends, humans, and luminary," she said, "today we celebrate more than just fixing the ship. We celebrate a new friendship between our worlds." Zora's body glowed with happy colors as she spoke next. "We came here as strangers in need of help. We leave as friends, with our hearts full of Earth's kindness." The crowd cheered. Then it was time for the fun to begin. There were games everywhere. Human kids taught luminary children to play soccer. The ball was special. It changed color when kicked, leaving pretty light trails in the air. The luminary showed humans how to play their favorite game. It was like 3D chess, but the pieces floated and moved on their own when commanded. It made people's heads spin, but they loved it. In one corner, there was a food contest. Human and luminary chefs had worked together to make new dishes. There was glowing spaghetti that wiggled on the plate, starfruit punch that sparkled like the night sky, and ice cream that changed flavors as you ate it. But the best treat was the friendship cake. It was huge, with layers for each color of the rainbow. When they cut it, tiny fireworks popped out, showering everyone with edible sparkles. As night fell, it was time for the big show. The luminary had prepared a special thank you gift for Earth. They called it a Star Symphony. Everyone went outside and lay down on the grass. The luminary ship rose into the air, glowing softly. Suddenly, beams of light shot out from it in all directions. The beams hit the clouds, making them light up in beautiful colors. Then the ship began to spin. The light beams danced across the sky, painting pictures. People saw giant animals running through the stars, flowers blooming across the moon, waves of rainbow light washing over the world. The human orchestra played along, their music perfectly matching the light show. It was like nothing anyone had ever seen before. People watched with wide eyes and big smiles, holding hands with their new luminary friends. When the show ended, there was a moment of quiet. Then everyone burst into cheers and applause. Many people had happy tears in their eyes. It was a moment no one would ever forget. But the night wasn't over yet. The luminary had one more surprise. They invited some humans to take a short trip in their ship. "We can't take everyone," Zara explained, "but we want to share a little of our world with you." They chose a mix of people, scientists, artists, teachers, and kids. The lucky humans excitedly boarded the luminary ship. With a soft hum, it rose into the air and shot up into space. From high above, the humans saw Earth as a beautiful blue marble. Then, with a flash of light, they were suddenly near Mars. The red planet looked close enough to touch. "This is how we travel," a luminary explained. "We jump through space using light." After showing them a close-up view of Saturn's rings, the ship returned to Earth. The humans were buzzing with excitement as they told everyone about their space adventure. As the party wound down, it was time to say goodbye. There were hugs, handshakes, and promises to keep in touch. The luminary gave seeds of their light plants as gifts. Humans offered books, music, and art for the luminary to take home. "Will you come back and visit?" a little girl asked Zara. Zara's body twinkled like stars. "Of course," she said. "We're not saying goodbye. We're saying see you soon." The next morning, people gathered to watch the luminary leave. The alien ships rose into the air, glowing brightly in the dawn light. They flashed their lights in a final farewell pattern. Then, with a brilliant flash, they were gone, jumping away through space to their home world. But they left behind more than memories. They left hope for a brighter future, a future where humans knew they weren't alone in the universe, a future full of new friendships, new discoveries, and endless possibilities. As people went home, they looked up at the stars with new eyes. Somewhere out there were their new friends. And someday, they knew, there would be more parties in the stars.